This is my multi-event scoring app. The 5 features are allowing the user to choose which event they want to score, allowing the user to choose which gender they're scoring for, convert the marks into points individually for each event, sum all the points up and show the total points, and allow the user to choose which event is open when they start the app. So if we go and start this up, it defaults to men's heptathlon, but you can change that by going into the settings and choosing a different one. Let's say women's heptathlon, right? Then close the app out, open it up again, and it opens up to women's heptathlon. And just to prove that this works, I'm going to demonstrate using one of my friend's marks from a few years ago. She won the heptathlon with a 44.29. She started off with a 14.87, so let's put that in. And then in high jump, she got, for some reason, stop scrolling. She got a 141 meters. However, when they score the heptathlon, they score in centimeters, so you drop the decimal point and just have 141 centimeters. In shot put, her best was 1081. In the 200, she won it with the 25.27. And these are just the sections of them because they have to run them in a multiple. And then she had a 5.22. Again, you drop the decimal point for jumping events. Only jumping events, they're scored in centimeters. Throwing events are also in meters. But that's just how they chose to score it. And she got a 28.65 in the javelin. And for the 800, oh, my bad. She ran 2:43, and this is looking for seconds, so you have to input the number of seconds. So converting that to seconds, that is 163.68. And for some reason that did not enter, so let me enter that again. So it's looking for number of seconds instead of minutes here, so it makes you convert it, but the converting that isn't that hard. It's not something you can't really do in your head. And then if you click calculate, you can look back at all the points, each individually scored, and see the total is the same. And you can also navigate through the events. So you can look at men's heptathlon. Again, you can look at all these. And you go back, everything's still here, entered in, it's just the points are gone. And if you decide to, let's say, leave one blank, it just kind of, it has 0 points. And since this one is distance based, you could still put a 0 and it'll give you 0. But for something like the 200, a very low number like a 0, as you'll see, would give you a lot of points, even though that's not something that's humanly possible. So if you just leave them blank, it automatically just goes as a 0 instead of not having, or instead of putting a 0. So if you got DQ'd, you didn't make it to your race or what have you, it'll still just, it'll make it a 0. So then it's an accurate representation of the amount of points you score. And this works the same way for the men's heptathlon, for the women's pentathlon, and for the men's decathlon, except there are a lot more events. They all work the same way. It gets the coefficients and how to score them from a database, Firebase actually. So that's the database call. It uses Firebase to get the A, B, and C coefficients, compares that with the mark that you input here. Let's say a 12 second 100. You go down, score it. You got 651. And that covers everything.